Welcome back to Studio 10, everybody. I'm Jerome Ritchie. This is the lovely Holly Sin, and it's been Safe Kids Week all week here in Studio 10.
It has been Safe Kids Week, and we are very excited today to welcome Gary Duran and Jean Shoemaker to talk a little water safety. And this extends far past what you might think. It's not just about making sure that when you are always watching your children so they don't fall in the pool without you noticing and things like that. What's important is that there are some big new rules out there, new laws out there, all kinds of things that you need to know. So before we dive into some of these things in front of us, Jean, what is the Virginia Graham-Baker Act?
Well, actually, I'm going to defer to Gary about that because he is the expert in that particular area. But the one thing that I do want to say is that one of the things that Safe Kids does worldwide is to advocate for children's safety. So when this law was put into effect and signed by President Bush, not only was his father there, former President Bush, but of course former Secretary Jim Baker was present, as was the Safe Kids General Counsel Alan Korn.
So what was the signed into place, and how was it before and how is it now since the law has been enacted?
Well, the federal law mandates several things. It gives the different states actual incentives to adopt a layered protection approach for public pools and newly constructed residential pools, and it also.
But what I'm asking is what kinds of things are different now? I mean, how was it before, and what is it now?
Well, there were really no federal incentives for compliance. The law brings in the federal incentives, and it's one of the few times that a federal mandate actually comes with money to help the states enact the safety measures.
So I know there was always the law in place, I think, where you had to have like a gate around the pool, or it'd have to be cordoned off if you didn't have a lanai. Let's talk about what we're looking at with these drains, because this has been in the news so many times. Kids getting sucked down into a pool drain, or even in like a public fountain. I think there was that case a few years back. Kids were playing in a fountain and got sucked into the drain. But now there are things that are in place that will prevent that from happening.
Part of the federal law is that all the safety covers now have to meet a recognized standard for entrapment prevention, and these covers here on the table are examples of the covers that are now available at a relatively low cost for retrofit, and the law mandates that all public pools must be retrofitted with these new covers that are safe against body entrapment. Their profiles, their different designs prevent hair from being entangled and from body parts becoming entrapped due to the pool suction.
Okay, so now we kind of touched on this, that there's now funding out there to help provide these safety measures. So if you were to retrofit your pool, there's funding out there that you can
The funding relates more to the state funding for enforcement and for public information, such as things like this, but the state will receive federal grant monies for helping educate the public as to what they need to do.
So making sure that we can see that these options are available.
Exactly. And the first phase of law primarily deals with the public pools. There are residential provisions that we will see. If you own a pool, the best thing that you can do is deal with a qualified professional, or you can call the Pool Safety Council. The Pool Safety Council has people on available at all times to answer any questions that you would have, and they can give you the right recommendations as to what you might need to make your own pool safe.
So if you've got an older pool and it's got the wide open grate where you could actually get like part of your hand or arm down in there, you need to get that drain or that grate off of there and replace it with one of these. We have a great big device that you brought in here.
Giant guy down here?
You were telling us about this. This actually is sort of a safety shutoff device. Explain how this works. Like say this is one of the old grates, and someone gets their arm stuck in there, down inside it. It's going to keep sucking.
Yes, sir.
But now with this, you're saying that doesn't happen.
This is primarily for new construction.
Right.
And what this is this goes into your pool where the drain connections into the bottom and the pump connections in here. So if anything ever blocks the drain, it sucks air. And it's based on the differential conditions, so there can never be a dangerous force at the drain when you have a system like this in place. This is just one of several.
I'll cut you off for just a second. Can we swing camera 3 all the way up? Right up here. There are actually air holes up here in the top.
Here, you can take it off and show
So it's like an alternate pathway for the air to flow instead of keeping the suction going.
This system breaks the vacuum, and it breaks it at levels that are safe. There never can be any excessive vacuum force with a system like this.
Okay. Now, Jean, let's talk for a second about just pool safety in general. What should parents keep in mind aside from the things that we've talked about today? The rules that have always been in place. What should people be considering?
Well, we just want to make sure that layers of barriers are really important because as parents, we cannot watch our kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So as Gary was talking about, we want to make sure the drains are safe. We want to make sure that there are of pool fencing around the pool, that there are locks on the doors. We even had a situation where a small child crawled through a doggy door and gained access to the pool area. So the more barriers that you have, the greater the chances are that the child is not going to access, the pool area, or it gives you time to realize your child is, quote, missing and, to find them. And the other thing is a lot of times people are having parties, and we realize that there are 3 times of the year where we see lots of drowns, and that's Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day, because the parties are happening, everybody's having a great time, and everyone thinks that everybody's watching the child. So what we have is this designated child watcher badge. There are several of them, and so the adult person who's wearing it is responsible for the kids at that time, okay, to keep their eyes, and that's all they do. And then when they decide they want to take a break, they want to go get that hamburger, then they, hand it off to someone else.
And it's really just, it's really common sense. If you've got a lot of kids and you're having a big party and things are kind of crazy, keep an eye, have somebody just keep an eye on the lifeguard,
Exactly. And, it's like you, Jerome, if you're responsible for making the hamburgers that day and you're grilling, and all of a sudden you need to go in to answer the phone, are you going to ask someone to watch the grill for you?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Same thing with the kids. You want to make sure that, when you leave the pool side, that someone is responsible for watching them.
We have all of this information for you. Well, they have all of this information for you. We're going to link you there at studio10.tv. So if you want any information about anything that we've talked about with Save Kids, you can go to studio10.tv. But here is some direct numbers for you. 877-222-4289 for the Pool Safety Council, poolsafetycouncil.org, and also there's the Safe Kids number for you as well.
Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Nice
And
So you're going to be the designated child watcher for the rest of the show,
we're
Jean?
going to leave you with one as well.
All right.
Oh, very
I'll
good.
keep an eye on Jerome.
Keep an eye on me. Hey.
And if you call, we'll give you one.
Okay.
We'll want one too.